Hello and welcome back to Culture Central. I'm Monroe, and today we are joined by current president of the University Park Undergraduate Association, otherwise known as UPUA, Rasha Elwakil. Rasha, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it a lot. So, Rasha, looking from an outside perspective, it seems as if there's been a lot of developments over the last few months from UPUA. Let's start. So you were elected in April as president, after a stint as vice president, then shortly after removed at General Assembly. Let's play a quote that you said in a statement to Monroe State. You said, quote, "I deeply care about UPUA and all the students across Penn State. I joined the organization to advocate for the needs of those voices who often go unheard. At the end of the day, I will continue to advocate for student needs regardless of whatever position I hold. I wish everyone all the best, and I am here to still support all students." Which I think is a very mature response after, of course, those developments. So I want to ask you, you were reinstated following a Chief Justice review from Hunter Stike that was in July.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, can you walk us through just the last few months? How have they been from your perspective?
Yeah, definitely. When I got reinstated towards the end of July, it was just such a relieving moment knowing that I would be able to continue a position within an organization that I care so deeply about. So for the past couple of months, we've really just been trying to get on with initiatives, continue working on projects that we had already pre-planned to work on. And I think we really got a chance to sort of reflect during those months, and I got a chance to reflect during those months of like what students actually need. And so, it was a time I took time away from the organization, or had to take time away from the organization. But at the end of the day, it really helped me like reflect on what students actually needed here at Penn State. So the past couple of months have really been trying to be as transparent with students, really trying to develop projects that actually directly impact students. And just rebuild the organization's internal culture. And so it's definitely been a great start so far, a lot of great development along the way.
For sure. After assuming the role, like I mentioned, Chief Justice Hunter Stike overturned the decision to remove you as president. I also want to play a quote that he said. So he said, in a comment to the Daily Collegian, he said, "It was a major issue to a lot of students that they felt the statements weren't being transparent right away," referring to the statements of why you were removed as president. So I want to ask, after, of course, that public back and forth, how does not only you, but UPUA as a whole, what's your plan, I would say, to earn back that trust from students?
Yeah, I definitely think me and my vice president, Noah Yuchev, are really looking to be as accessible to all students. I think that that's really important when you talk about transparency, is ensuring that students can actually come to you and ask you questions, and just be able to like talk it through a multitude of different things. I know after the situation happened, I posted a video sort of explaining my perspective and my point of view. And so from that, I've been able to like reflect on how to engage with the student body. Me and Noah are going to be doing blog posts talking about any major initiatives that are going on. Our speaker, Kat Hogan, will also be doing that, as well as our vice speaker, McGuire Eunice. And through that, we just really want the students to know what the UPUA actually does, and how our decisions are directly impacting them, and how the university's decisions are directly impacting them. Me and Noah are also doing office hours for any student just to drop by, explain their concerns and whatnot. And we do hope to put out like Google Forms for students to like anonymously ask questions. We hope that all students feel comfortable approaching us, but we know at the end of the day that some students do not, or they don't have the availability in their schedule to come in and have a prolonged conversation. And so through that Google form, if they want to follow up, they can put their name and their email. But if they just really want to remain anonymous, then that's totally fine. At the end of the day, we just want to advocate for all students and hope that, all of our actions and our projects and our initiatives directly benefit students.
Mm-hmm. Your former vice president, I should say, Fletcher Port, he resigned after you were reinstated. Just want to briefly ask, what's your relationship with him at this current phase?
Yeah, so we don't really necessarily communicate a lot. He wished the organization all the best. I know that he'll definitely be a resource for the representatives within the organization. I know that, I believe that him and Noah Yuchev had a conversation about the role as vice president. But yeah, just looking forward to having Noah be my VP for the remainder of the year.
And speaking of Noah, so you campaigned with Fletcher Port. Now that Noah is the vice president, honestly, like with students, you guys campaign on on a certain vision, I
Yeah.
would say. So from people who maybe don't know who NOAA is or
Yeah.
what his goals are, what his vision is for UPUA, what should students expect from your administration now that NOAA is the new VP?
Yeah. NOAA is extremely passionate and dedicated to the organization. I remember last year when we were sort of having trouble as an exec branch moving on with the 19 credit surcharge that got implemented. NOAA really stepped up and was able to talk to the provost, and there has been a lot of developing conversations to ensure that students are able to afford their education here at Penn State. So NOAA is really amazing with academic policies, which affects students a lot more than any student would think that they do. Noah's really engaged with Faculty Senate as well. But I know Noah, when we interviewed him, he was very said that he wants to support the platform that me and my former VP Fletcher Port ran on, and then as well as just supporting internal culture. I think when he came into the position, his big thing was that we need to revitalize internal culture and ensure that all representatives feel welcomed and comfortable. But we also don't have a culture of bullying, which I think that the organization unfortunately has had and it's not something that we should have as a student advocacy organization necessarily. So he's really trying to revitalize that, we're all here to support students, and let's, all work together, all collaborate with each other. And so he's really looking into doing that as well.
Yeah, you touched on it a little bit, but now that you're back in office, just kind of want to remind people, what are your initiatives or what are your goals and vision for the student body? Because, that might have, of the developments over the last few months, might have blurred the lines in terms of, kind of reminding people, okay, what is Rasha's role as a leader, and then what's your vision as a leader?
Yeah. Definitely transparency is a major one. I honestly did not know how disconnected UPA was with the student body. And so I really want the student body to be very engaged. And you can only do that with transparency and accessibility to the organization. Another thing is, accessibility across the campus. And so last year I was big on the accessibility task force, and I hope to continue that this year, as well as just ensuring that we are connecting to whatever students need. Right now, we're faced with a lot of DEI setbacks that have been happening. And so I just want students to know that I am not going to, play into what some people necessarily want on a federal level. I want all students to know that they're welcomed here, they belong here, and that they should have the resources that they need. And so very big on, DEI initiatives this year, very big on accessibility, transparency, and just ensuring that, students do have accessibility to our organization. The last thing is also, or one of the last things is also mental health. Internally, externally, we're trying to pass mental health days through Faculty Senate, having that as an excused sort of absence from class, because mental health is as important as physical health. And then also just doing a campus-wide mental health resource fair.
Yeah, I know DEI has been an issue that some people, at least my friends, have talked about. Yeah. Also, a lot of international students having their visas revoked. Yeah. I want to ask, how can students who have these concerns or have ideas make their voices heard with UPUA?
I'm always available by text message, email, DM, whatever they believe is most accessible to them. I always want to make myself very accessible to everyone. And so if a student has a concern, whether that be personal or not personal, I want to hear them out. And so again, with that Google form that we're hopefully developing, with the office hours, with me just trying to get my face out there for students to come and approach me, I really want students to come up and express their concerns.
Gotcha. Well, thank you, Rasha. I have one more question. In terms of fun events or any announcements you might have for us, is there anything we should look forward to from UPUA at all?
Just staying in the loop with any projects. I know that we're trying to develop a resolution on the funding cuts from WPSU, which I think is really important. And so just staying in the loop of any sort of events that we put on, resolutions. We're going to be big on resolutions this year to show our support, and hopefully, students can, read into that and get involved with that. So, yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you, Rasha. That's all we have time for today. Thanks again to Rasha for joining us here on Code Central for the second time, actually. We look forward to seeing how your leadership shapes student government and the student body this year. Thank you for watching, and until next time.